Hello, and welcome back to the Cracking FAANG YouTube channel. Today we're going to be solving Leetcode problem 323, number of connected components in an undirected graph. You have a graph of n nodes. You are given an integer n and an array edges where edges of I equals a of I, b of I, which indicates that there is an edge between a and I and b and I in the graph. Return the number of connected components in the graph. So for example, if we were given this input where 0 is connected to 1, 1 is connected to 0, obviously there's an edge between them, and then there's an edge between 1 and 2, and there's an edge between 3 and 4, how many connected components are in this graph? Well, it would be 2. And why is the reason for that? Well, we can see that one component is here, and the other one is here, right? There's two connected components, where a connected component means basically like all of the nodes we can reach as part of one component. And that's really all we need for this problem. This is a really good question to learn graphs because of how simple it is. And the first thing that you want to do is just build the graph, right? We're going to build the graph with a an adjacency list representation. So with adjacency list. And then the second thing we want to do is just perform a DFS. So what we're going to do is we're going to, let's just say we have these nodes like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? These are the nodes in our graph. And we're going to build our graph so we know what's connected to what. So what we're going to do is we're going to maintain a visited set. We'll call this V. And what we're going to do is we're going to start at 0. And at 0, we're going to visit 0. And we also are going to need to keep track of the number of components. So we'll say number, and at this time is going to be 0, right? So we'll start at 0, and obviously 0 is a node in the graph. So even if it's not connected to anything else, it by itself is its own, component. So therefore, there's at least one in here. So we can say that there's one component because obviously 0 is in the graph, and we have visited 0. So now what we're going to do is we cannot count 1 as its own component because it's connected to 0 and we've already counted the component here. So what we want to do is DFS from 0 and reach all of the nodes that we can as part of this connected component. And what we're going to do is simply update our visited set. And eventually our DFS will end, and then we can move on. And let's see what happens. So we start at 0. We obviously incremented our component count because we've now seen at least one component. And now we're going to do a DFS. So we're going to look into our graph and see where we can go. So we're going to go to all of its children, which is just the 1 here. So we visit the 1, and because this is part of our DFS, again, we don't increment our component count here because it's part of this one component, and we've already made the increment when we started the DFS. So now we're at this 1, so we're going to say that we visited 1, and now we need to go to all of 1's children if they're not in the visited set. Obviously, if we went back to 0, we would get stuck in an infinite cycle because then 0 would go to 1, 1 would go to 0, and then on and on and on. So that's why we have the visited set, to make sure we don't get caught in an infinite cycle. So what we want to do is we want to visit all of 1's children that aren't in the visited set. So obviously we can't go back to 0, but we can go to 2. So we go to 2 in the next part of our DFS here. And at 2, what we can do is we want to go to all of its children that aren't in the DFS. Obviously, we can't go back to 1 because it's already in the visited set, which means that we simply end our DFS here because there's no other paths to explore. We've explored this fully. Our DFS will end. It's going to recurse back to the 1, which goes back to the 0, and then we break out of our DFS. Then we're going to continue through our list of nodes in the graph, and we get to 1. But obviously 1 has already been visited, so we just skip over it. Then we go to the 2, but 2 has already been visited, so we skip over it because again, we can't count 2 as its own component because it's already been visited as part of the component that we started at 0. So we then go to 3, which is not in the visited set. So this means that it must be a new unique component. So we increment our count by 1. So now we have 2 components, and we're going to say that we visited 3. We're going to kick off a depth first search from 3 to explore all of its possible paths and basically update our visited set. So from 3, we can go to 4, and 4 is not in our visited set, so we add it to the visited set. And from here, what we do is we're going to explore all of 4's children. And obviously 4's children is only 3, but since 3 is already in the visited set, we don't go back because that would create an infinite cycle. So our DFS ends here, and then we return back here, which then returns, and we have finished our DFS. So now as we're going back through our list here, the last thing to do is go to the 4, but 4 is already in the visited set. So we are actually done because we've exhausted all the possible nodes that we can start a DFS from. Now what we want to do is just return our answer. So we return 2, which is the number of connected components in this graph. So like I said, what we want to do is build the graph first with an adjacency list. The second thing is we're going to start a DFS from all the nodes in the graph, assuming that they haven't already been visited. And if they haven't been visited and we can start a DFS there, then we want to increment our count of the total number of connected components by 1. And at the end, we're simply going to return that as our answer. So, like I said, this is a really good problem to learn basically how to build graphs and how to traverse them, because it's really straightforward and it's not too complex, and you're going to use these patterns a lot in some questions. So this is why I really like this problem. Now let's go into the code editor and code this up so you can see exactly how we're going to implement what we just talked about. I'll see you in the editor. We are back in the editor and it's time to write the code. The first thing that we want to do is actually take care of an edge case, and that is if n equals 1, which means that there's only one node, which means that it's just a single node and there's only one connected component. So let's just take care of that for simplicity. So we'll say if n equals 1, then we can simply return 1 because it's going to be a lone node, and obviously it's just going to be that one connected component. Otherwise, what we want to do is we want to initialize our component count to be, components is going to be equal to 0. And now we need to build the graph. So the way that we're going to do this is, remember, for each node, we basically want to keep track of all the nodes it has an edge with. So all of the nodes that we can reach from that one. So what we're going to do is, remember, n is the number of nodes in our graph. So what we're going to do is we're going to say graph is going to be a dictionary where the key is each node and the value will be a list of all of the nodes that we can reach from that node. So we're basically going to say node and an empty list for node in range n. And the reason that we can't build our graph just by using the value and edges is that if edges just represents the edges. If there's no actual edge between two nodes, then if we just did it that way, we wouldn't actually get single nodes, which are valid components in and of themselves. If it's just one node kind of floating in space, that's still technically a connected component, even though it's not connected to anything else. It's still a single node, which counts as an actual connected component for the sake of this problem. So we can't discount those, and that's why we can't build the graph from just the data that's in edges. We have to build it first and then update the value for each node based on the data in edges. Because if we didn't, we could have the case where we leave things out and we don't actually count them towards our final component count, and we're gonna get the wrong answer. If you don't believe me, just try to build the graph from edges, submit it, and you're gonna see that you're gonna miss things when components are actually just single nodes. So what we're gonna do now is actually build the graph. So we're gonna say for edge one, for node 1, node 2 in edges. So basically there's an edge between node 1 and node 2. We want to reflect that in our graph. So we're going to say graph of node 1. So we're going to say that there's a there's an edge between node 1 and node 2. And then we're going to say graph of node 2 dot append node 1. So we're going to link the two, and we're going to basically say that from node 1 we can reach node 2. Now what we want to do is perform our depth first search. And remember that we need a visited set here so we don't actually get caught in an infinite cycle. So we're going to say visited is going to be an empty set. And then we're going to define our DFS function. So we're going to say def DFS, and it's going to take a node, and we're going to say for neighbor. So we're going to try to explore all the neighbors of a current node. We're going to say for neighbor in graph of whatever the node is. We're going to say if neighbor is not already in visited. So if we haven't been there before, we want to say visited dot add that neighbor, and then we want to add DFS from the whatever that neighbor is. So for example, from the 0, we go to the 1. 1 is not yet explored, so now we need to call our DFS function from here. And then 1's going to try to go to 0 and 2, but because we've already been to 0, it's only going to be allowed to go to 2. And then from 2, we're going to try to go to all of its children, which is just 1. But since we've already been to 1, we don't go there, and our DFS is just going to end. And then the recursion will take us back to the 1, which then takes us back to the 0. So that is essentially what we're going to do in the DFS function. Really simple. We're just visiting all the nodes and updating our visited set as we go along. So we're going to say now we need to actually figure out how many connected components there are. And remember, the way that we did this was actually to just go through all the nodes in the graph. And if the node hadn't been explored, then we can consider that as its own connected component, and we needed to call the DFS function on it to figure out all the nodes that are in that component, add them to our visited set, and then continue through our iteration. So we're going to say for node in graph, we're going to say if node in visited, then we've already been there. We don't care. We've already counted it. We don't want to actually do anything here. So we're just going to continue, which is going to go to the next iteration. Otherwise, what we're going to do is we're going to say visited. We're going to add that node because, again, we don't want to get caught in an infinite cycle. And then we're going to say components is going to get incremented by 1 because, remember, at this point, if we see a node that hasn't been visited yet, that is the start of a connected component. So we need to increment our component count by 1, and then we need to DFS into that node to basically visit all of its children and update our visited set correctly. So we don't accidentally count something when we shouldn't count it, and also so we don't get caught in an infinite cycle. So let us return our components at the end here, and that's all we need to do. Let's just make sure we haven't made any syntax bugs, and then let's submit this. And cool, it works. So what is the runtime complexity here? Well, let's think about this. So to build this initial graph, it's going to take n iterations because obviously we have to do, range n to basically build this initial graph. So that is going to cost big O of n time, where n is, this n here, which represents the number of nodes. Then to actually build the graph, we have to go over our edges here. So that is going to cost big O of e time, where e represents the number of edges we have in our graph. Then to actually do the DFS, in the worst case, we're going to have something like this, where everything is connected. So we just have to start from the beginning and basically explore all of the, connections here. And we're going to traverse the entire tree. So we can say that this is going to be big O of v, where v is the number of vertexes, or basically nodes in our graph. So that is going to be our, time complexity for the actual DFS part, where we actually go through and figure out how many connected components there are. So that is going to be your runtime complexity. So the big O of n is to actually build the graph data structure. The big O of e is to actually build out the edges. And then the big O of v is going to be the actual traversal of the graph. So it's going to be big O of, this is our final runtime complexity. For the space complexity, obviously we're going to have to store all the nodes in the graph. So this is just going to depend on the number of nodes. And then also the visited set at the end will contain all of the nodes. So that's also big O of n. And then in the actual graph, we're just going to have to reflect all of the edges. So these two, we can just think of this as being, big O of 2n, but asymptotically it's just big O of n. So we have big O of n in terms of the graph, and then to actually store the edges here inside of it, it's just going to be big O of e, where e represents the number of edges. So that is your time complexity, and this is your space complexity. This is a really fun problem. I really enjoy graph problems, especially this one. I think it's really simple. It gives you the fundamentals of how to work with graphs. This is something that you're going to do a lot, building this sort of adjacency list and then traversing it. So definitely one to know. If you didn't understand this problem, I would go back and highly recommend that you study how to do this, because a lot of problems on Leetcode are going to be in this representation. Obviously, you're not going to be given some sort of like graph data structure class. You're going to be given usually a list of edges, and you're going to be asked to build the graph from that. And typically the way that we do it is you have the node as the key, and then a list containing all of the other nodes that you can reach, so basically representing the edges. And this is what we call an adjacency list representation of a graph. And this is usually what you're going to use to solve most graph questions in Leetcode, because like I said, you're not going to be given a graph class like you might with a tree data structure. So definitely one to know. And then this is just your standard depth first search. Traversal works for both graphs and trees. So pretty straightforward there. If you know it for trees, you know it for graphs. It's really the same thing. Again, we use this visited set to make sure we don't get caught in an infinite cycle. And there you go. That's the problem. Nothing too crazy. Pretty intuitive how we're going to solve it. Pretty easy to set up technically, and really not that bad, even if you've never seen graph questions before. I think this one makes a lot of sense, and the difficulty is really just in kind of setting up the graph. Otherwise, it's not too bad. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and comment. It really helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more videos like this, please consider subscribing to my channel. If there's any problems you'd like me to solve, leave them in the comment section below, and I'll be happy to get back to you guys. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching this video. Have a nice day. Bye.